Welcome to Midnight Affairs Tales, where secrets don't sleep. Tell us where you're watching from, then buckle up. And most important, never forget to subscribe to our channel. Starts now. Chapter 1. The air was thick with dust and diesel, the kind that clings to your lungs long after you leave the desert. Logan Brooks hit the ground hard, face first into the blistering sand, the impact rattling through his helmet. A burst of gunfire cracked somewhere to the east, then a shout, "Incoming!" Too late. A blast rocked the alleyway, sending a shockwave through the cinderblock wall behind him. Shrapnel bit into his side like metal teeth, but he didn't scream. He didn't have time. Because Ethan was exposed, sprinting across open ground with no cover, no backup, just running straight into fire. Logan didn't think. He launched up, adrenaline drowning out pain, boots skidding through sand as he charged forward. "Cole, get down!" Ethan didn't turn. Didn't hear him. So Logan did the only thing he could. He lunged. Mid-stride, he caught Ethan by the back of his vest and shoved him sideways into cover, just as the round hit. It punched through Logan's right shoulder like a sledgehammer through wet plaster. The force spun him sideways, knocking the wind from his chest. He collapsed over Ethan's legs, mouth filling with grit and blood. Everything slowed. Above them, dust drifted like snowflakes in the orange light. Logan couldn't move, couldn't breathe. His own heartbeat echoed like drums inside his ears, fast, then slow, then nothing. Ethan's voice came back as a faint blur. Logan, and then black. The room was silent except for the rhythmic beeping of a heart monitor. Logan opened his eyes to fluorescent ceiling tiles and the faint antiseptic burn of a military hospital ward. His shoulder was wrapped in layers of gauze and stitched like a football. A few lines ran from his arm, and his mouth was dry enough to crack. A nurse passed by the door, but didn't look in. He blinked slowly, tried to speak. Nothing came out. A whiteboard on the far wall read, Naval Medical Center San Diego, Recovery Bay 3B. Patient, Brooks L. Days since op, 9 days. He turned his head slowly. A small bouquet of sunflowers wilted on the side table. No card, no notes. Nothing that said anyone had been here. Not Ethan, not Natalie. His chest tightened. A week later, he stood in front of his own apartment door. The key trembled slightly in his grip, not from nerves, but from the pain meds still cycling through his system. He turned it. Click. The place was exactly as he left it. Sort of. Boots by the door, but they weren't his. Men's size, but not military issue. Different brand, cleaner. He stepped inside. The living room was dim, curtains drawn. A candle had burned halfway down on the coffee table. Vanilla. Natalie never liked vanilla. His duffel hit the floor with a thud. "Natalie?" he called out, voice hoarse. No answer. He moved through the apartment slowly, past the kitchen, down the hall, toward the bedroom. The door was half open. Light spilled from inside. He reached for it, pushing gently. The bed was unmade. 2 pillows, sheets twisted. A pair of jeans lay on the chair in the corner. A black shirt folded over them. A military PT shirt. Ethan's shirt. Logan stared at it. His body went still. In the bathroom, the shower ran faintly. Muffled laughter. 2 voices. Logan backed away from the doorway, quiet as death. His breath shallow, sharp, mechanical. He turned, walked back down the hallway like a ghost, past the kitchen, past the boots, out the door, closed it without a sound. The sun outside stabbed at his eyes. He stood there on the concrete steps, the weight of the heat pressing down on his shoulders, and for a long moment, he didn't move, didn't cry, didn't scream. He just stood there, like the bullet had finally landed. Logan walked, down the cracked sidewalk, past a flickering streetlight, past a barking dog, behind a leaning fence. He walked until the sun dipped and the sky bled orange and violet, until the city lights flickered on like nothing had happened. His right shoulder throbbed beneath the sling. Every pulse of pain reminded him he was still here, still breathing. He stopped at a 24-hour diner 2 blocks from base, the kind with red vinyl booths and a jukebox that hadn't worked in years. He took a seat at the far end, near the window, away from the glow of the ceiling lights. A waitress appeared without asking. Older, eyeliner smudged. She poured coffee into a chipped mug. "You look like hell," she muttered, sliding over a menu. Logan didn't respond. He didn't even lift the cup. The diner was nearly empty. 2 truckers at the counter. A couple whispering over cold fries near the restrooms. Outside, the street was quiet. He pulled a receipt from his pocket, one he grabbed off the coffee table before walking out. Just a corner, torn hastily. A bar tab. Local. Yesterday's date. 2 drinks. Ethan's signature scribbled across the bottom. Logan set it on the table and stared at it. The waitress came back 20 minutes later. The coffee was cold. You gonna eat or just haunt the place? Logan stood, left a 10 on the table, and walked out. He didn't go back to the apartment. Instead, he drove. Not far, just enough to feel motion. The city blurred by in sodium haze as he gripped the wheel with one hand, knuckles white. His shoulder barked every time he turned too sharp, but he didn't care. He passed their old gym, the base, the bar where the team used to drink after training ops. Then, finally, he pulled into a dark parking lot next to a low-rise brick building. Mia Santos, military law office, confidential consultations. Her light was still on. He hesitated, then killed the engine. She didn't look surprised when she opened the door. Just leaned against the frame in a gray hoodie and jeans, arms crossed. "You're 2 years too late," she said. "I didn't come to argue," Logan muttered. "No, you came to bleed on my carpet again." He didn't smile, didn't try to win her over. After a pause, she stepped back. "Come in." The office was small, warm, desk piled with folders, 2 medals in a glass case on the wall, a framed photo of her with their old unit. Logan was in it, 4th from the left, younger, less broken. He dropped into the worn leather chair across from her desk. She sat. "Talk." He hesitated, then carefully reached into his jacket and laid Ethan's shirt on the table, folded, black cotton. Still warm from the bathroom floor, Mia's jaw clenched. "Jesus, Logan." He looked up. "I need you to tell me everything you know about Ethan's last op before mine." She frowned. "What are you thinking?" "Just start." She stared at him a long moment, then reached into the desk drawer, pulled a slim manila folder and tossed it to him. "Classified, but I kept a copy. Call it bad habit." He opened it with one hand. Photos, satellite shots, debrief notes, redactions everywhere. "Last mission before Syria," she said. "Ethan led a team into Kandahar. Intel said local arms deal, routine snatch and grab. It went south. One of the local assets died, unclear how. Ethan's report blamed a misfire." Logan flipped the page. There was Ethan's handwriting, too clean, too polished. "Did anyone verify?" "No body, no locals talked, case closed." He leaned back, eyes still on the paper. "I want everything you have on Ethan. All of it." Mia's voice dropped. "Logan, what are you walking into?" He looked at her and said nothing. The next morning, Logan showed up to base early. He wore civilian jeans, a long sleeve to hide the sling, sunglasses to hide the rage. The gate guard recognized him and waved him through. Inside, everything looked the same. Clean gravel, green Quonset huts, the clatter of boots on concrete. He walked into HQ like he belonged. Found Ethan in the gym, alone, wrapping his hands. Classic. The heavy bag stood still, untouched. "Logan," Ethan said, surprised. "Shit, man. I didn't think you'd be up for." Logan didn't respond, just leaned against the doorframe. Ethan hesitated. "Listen, bro, about Natalie." Logan tilted his head. Ethan swallowed hard. "It wasn't supposed to happen like that. I was going to talk to you. You knew I was still in the hospital." Ethan didn't answer. "You think I took that bullet for you so you could crawl into my bed while I was stitched together?" "I didn't plan it. That's worse." The silence that followed was thick, suffocating. Ethan's voice softened. "Look, you know how this life is. The tempo, the chaos. Natalie, she didn't think you were coming back," she said. Logan took a step forward. "Don't say her name." Ethan nodded, like he was trying to play it cool. "You came here to hit me?" Logan just stared. "I get it. You're hurt. But don't throw away your career over this. You got one arm. I'd drop you fast." Logan didn't move. Didn't need to. He simply said, "You ever lie to me in the field?" Ethan blinked. "What? Syria. You left your flank exposed. You remember that?" "Yeah, we were ambushed. You covered me." "Did you call in the wrong coordinates?" Ethan shook his head, confused. "What are you talking about?" Logan stepped closer. "The team says the drone was 5 clicks off target. Intel said one thing. You told us another. Why?" Ethan's expression shifted, barely, a flicker of something behind the eyes. Then it vanished. "You're paranoid," he said, grabbing the heavy bag. "You need rest, man." Logan stared at him a second longer, then turned and walked out. Back in the car, Logan sat motionless. He replayed every mission, every movement, every split-second decision Ethan had ever made. All the moments that hadn't felt wrong before, suddenly did. He pulled out his phone, scrolled, found a name, Staff Sergeant Ryan Heler, Recon Team Bravo. He tapped the call, ringing. Then a voice. Yeah? This is Brooks. I need to talk. About Kandahar. About Cole. The other end went silent. Then, you finally asking the right question, brother. Logan's grip tightened. What question is that? The voice came back cold. Who wanted you dead? The phone line crackled. Meet me, Heler said. Tonight. You know Lucky's off Harbor Drive? Yeah, back lot, 30 minutes. Don't bring anyone. The line went dead. The lot behind Lucky's was dim, tucked between a row of old warehouses and a chain-link fence snarled with dead vines. A single overhead bulb buzzed weakly, casting everything in yellow shadows. Logan pulled in with headlights off and parked by the dumpsters. A black SUV sat idling near the far corner, engine running, windows up. Logan stepped out slowly, his right shoulder stiff beneath the sling. The SUV door opened, and a figure climbed out, taller than he remembered, older too. Civilian coat over a faded recon hoodie, ball cap pulled low. Ryan Heler. They stood in silence for a beat. Heler looked him over. Heard you took a round. Still here. Guess that screws someone's plan. Logan didn't react. You remember Kandahar? Heler asked. I wasn't there. You were on the list. What list? Heler reached into his coat and pulled out a folded sheet, worn, creased, printed from a secure manifest. He held it out. Logan took it with his left hand. A list of call signs, mission date, Operation Stone Gate. His name was there, but scratched out. So, Logan said. You were swapped last minute, Heler said. Orders changed. Cole pushed it through. Why? He said you had leave approved. He vouched for it himself. Logan stared at the paper. Guy who took your place died in the field, Heler continued. Team went in blind. Intel was garbage. We were supposed to take out a broker. Simple job. But someone fed him our route. We got hit before boots touched ground. He lit a cigarette with a steel Zippo. The flame flickered against his face. Long jaw, fresh scar above the left eye. I got out with 2 broken ribs and a dead teammate. Ethan got out with 0 scratches and a promotion. Logan folded the paper. Why tell me now? 'Cause I saw your name on the Tribunal logs, and I figured maybe you finally stopped looking the other way. When Logan got back to the apartment, the lights were off. He stepped inside. The air smelled like warmed-up pasta and wine. A single candle still burned on the table. Natalie sat on the couch, knees pulled to her chest, hair up in a loose twist, barefoot. Her eyes lifted when she heard the door. She didn't smile. I left you dinner, she said. He shut the door quietly. I'm not hungry. A beat passed. Can we talk? She asked. He didn't answer, just took off his jacket and dropped it on the kitchen chair. I messed up, she said softly. I know that. I'm not asking you to forget it. You sure? He said, voice quiet. She stood slowly. You were gone. You didn't call. You didn't write. You were in a war zone, Logan. You thought I was dead, so you brought him here. That's not fair. He turned toward her. What is fair, Nat? Silence. I didn't expect you to understand what it's like out there, he said. But I thought I could trust you not to crawl into bed with the one guy I trusted with my life. Natalie's eyes welled, but she didn't look away. He was there. He listened. Logan blinked. He listened, he repeated. She moved toward him, voice cracking. I was scared. I was alone. And he said you'd never forgive me if you made it back, that you already knew. Logan's face shifted, subtle, sharp. What? He said you knew, that things were broken before you left. He stared at her, breath shallow. And you believed him. She paused, guilty. He said you'd wanted out, that the only reason you stayed was to avoid a dishonorable meet. That's why you volunteered for that op, not for duty, to disappear. The room went still. I never said that, Logan whispered. Natalie hesitated, then her voice broke. I wanted to believe it. I didn't want to think I was just giving up on someone who still loved me. She was crying now, but he didn't move toward her, didn't speak, just stared like he was trying to see through her. I was wrong, she said. I know I was wrong. He finally spoke. You still talk to him? A pause. Sometimes. He nodded once, walked to the bedroom. She followed. Logan, please. He opened the closet, pulled out a duffel bag and tossed it on the bed. You leaving? She asked, voice small. No, he unzipped the bag. I am. She stood frozen as he grabbed folded clothes, shaving kit, a photo frame from the dresser. Where will you go? He didn't answer. She stepped forward. I don't want to lose you. He stopped, turned, looked her in the eye. You lost me the minute he walked out of my bedroom alive. She flinched, and he walked past her, duffel in hand. Outside, the air had cooled. Distant sirens echoed off the buildings. Logan crossed the lot and reached the car, threw the bag in the back. His phone buzzed in his pocket. Unknown number. He answered. A male voice clipped, quiet. "Brooks?" "Yeah. This is Commander Vale. We need to talk. It's about Ethan Cole." "What about him?" "I suggest you come in. Now." Logan glanced back toward the apartment window. Natalie was watching. "On my way," he said. Logan shut the door and started the engine. The window above him went dark. He pulled out of the lot without checking the mirror. San Diego moved around him. Cars passing, people laughing on corners, the ocean stretching quiet and wide beyond the buildings. The world didn't care. It never had. Commander Vale's office sat inside a low, gray complex behind the base's operations wing. No signs, no flags, just a single keypad on a steel door and a camera watching silently above it. Logan buzzed in. The lock clicked. Inside, the hallway was colder than the outside air. Sterile, unwelcoming. A young officer in a short-sleeved uniform appeared without a word and motioned for him to follow. Logan walked, down 2 corridors, through one secure checkpoint, then into a windowless room with a long table and 2 chairs. One was occupied. Commander Vale sat upright, sleeves rolled, silver watch, black ink barely visible under his wrist. Mid-50s, calm face, quiet eyes, nothing wasted in his movements. He gestured toward the empty chair. Logan sat. Vale tapped a manila folder on the table. "You're still on medical leave." Logan said nothing. Vale opened the folder. "But you've been moving, meeting with Santos, asking questions about Cole, visiting former recon operators." Still no response. "Something you want to say, Sergeant?" Logan leaned back slightly, keeping his face unreadable. "Depends what this is." "A courtesy," Vale said, "before this thing becomes something we can't contain." Logan's jaw shifted. "You think this is about infidelity," Vale continued, "but that's not the problem. Not anymore." He slid a small photo across the table. Black and white, blurry, a low-resolution satellite image of a convoy wreckage, burned-out Humvee, 3 bodies, desert terrain. "Kandahar," Vale said. "Same op Cole led last spring. You weren't on that manifest, but you were originally tagged for it." Logan stared at the photo. "The mission failed because someone altered the route. The enemy was waiting. You ask me, that's more than bad intel." Vale folded his hands. "And now you're asking the right people the wrong questions." Logan's voice was steady. "Who's covering for him?" Vale didn't flinch. "That's not how this works. You know that." Logan picked up the photo, looked at the scorched wreckage, the faint outline of a body half pulled from the vehicle. "How many died?" he asked. 3. One of them, Martinez. He took your spot." Logan lowered the picture. "Ethan write the report?" Vale nodded. "Said Martinez froze. Said the local fixer ran off. No corroboration. No one left to contradict him." Silence. Vale's eyes stayed on him. "Don't be the next Ghost, Brooks. Whatever you think you're going to uncover, it won't matter if you go about it wrong." Logan stood. "If I died in Syria, would this conversation be happening?" Vale didn't answer. Outside, the wind had picked up. Flags on base snapped hard against the sky. Logan stood beside his car, staring down at the photo still in his hand. Martinez. He remembered the guy. Quiet, sharp, 2 kids, used to trade protein bars on long hauls. He shoved the image into his jacket pocket. A voice startled him from behind. "You got a minute?" He turned. Mia stood near the curb, jacket collar up, dark hair pulled back. She looked out of place, like someone halfway into a fight she hadn't agreed to. "How'd you know I was here?" "I asked around. Your name's showing up on reports again. Fast." He looked at her. She walked closer. "You're not the only one Ethan's screwed over. I used to cover for him, Logan, back in Kabul, when the paperwork didn't match, when the timing didn't add up." "Why?" "I thought it was fog of war stuff, small lies, the kind we all make to protect the mission." Her voice dropped. "But he's been playing a different game." Logan's jaw tightened. She handed him a flash drive. "What's this?" "Helmet cam. Kandahar. Found a backup file. Part of the audio is corrupted, but the last 60 seconds, you'll want to hear it alone." Logan nodded slowly. Mia hesitated. "Be careful. You're getting close to something that's going to hit back." She turned, walked toward her car, stopped. "One more thing," she said without turning around. "Natalie's bank account. I checked it. You should too." She got in, drove off. Logan sat in his motel room, laptop open. The file was simple. No encryption. Just one clip, Opstone K001 Cam 3. He pressed play. Static. Desert wind. Gunfire in the distance. Shouting. Then voices. Garbled, but there. Move now. Clear the angle. Cole, where the hell's our bird? Another voice, closer. Ethan's. Don't fire, wait. Gunfire. Screaming. He's down. Leave him. Logan leaned closer, turned the volume up. Then one line, clear, sharp, cutting through everything. If Brooks was here, he'd already be dead. The video ended. The room was dead silent. Logan's fingers hovered above the keyboard. He didn't blink, didn't breathe. The motel walls felt like they were closing in, cheap drywall, peeling paint, buzzing AC. The quiet pressed in heavy and hot. His phone buzzed. A message from Natalie. He came by again, said you're losing it. We need to talk. He stared at the screen. Another buzz. Same thread. Logan, are you there? Then a knock at the door. Not frantic, not soft. 3 precise taps. He didn't move. Just stared at the handle, waiting. The knock came again. 3 sharp taps. Controlled. Military. Logan stepped toward the door. The carpet under his boots barely muffled the sound. His shoulder ached beneath the sling, but the pain grounded him. He looked through the peephole. Ethan. Standing there like it was any normal day. Hands in his jacket pockets, head tilted like he'd just dropped by for a beer. Logan didn't move, didn't speak. Ethan raised his voice through the door. I know you're in there, man. Open up. No response. Another pause. I saw Mia at base. I know what she gave you. Still, Logan stood silent. Ethan's voice hardened. This thing you're chasing, it's gonna get real bad if you don't stop. Logan unlocked the door. Slow. Ethan tensed slightly as it cracked open. Logan didn't invite him in, just stepped back. Ethan took that as permission and walked inside like nothing was broken. Scanned the room. Bare walls, laptop open on the bed, flash drive beside it. Nice place, Ethan muttered. Really leaning into the gritty loner vibe, huh? Logan shut the door behind him, clicked the lock. Ethan stayed standing, didn't sit. You listened to it? He asked. Logan didn't answer. I figured you would. I told them to pull that cam footage weeks ago. Guess somebody missed one. He looked at Logan now. Dead on. I didn't say it to be cruel. I said it because it was true. Logan's jaw tightened. You weren't supposed to be there, Ethan went on. You were never supposed to take Martinez's slot. You were tagged for Syria 3 days before that. I made the call. Logan's voice came low. You had him reassigned. I saved your life. No, you traded someone else's for it. Ethan shook his head like he was explaining something to a child. You don't get it, do you? That op was a setup. We were sent in dry. Bad intel, compromised maps. Someone inside wanted us burned. You'd have died for nothing. And Martinez didn't? Ethan's silence answered for him. Logan stepped forward. You kept that from the report. You wrote him off as collateral. I had to, Ethan snapped. They were already sniffing around, looking to hang someone. If I didn't control the story, they'd pin it on the team. You think they care who actually gave the order? And Natalie? Logan asked. Ethan's face twitched. Don't bring her into this. She already is. Ethan's mouth opened, then shut. He looked away. Did you lie to her too? Logan said. She came to me, Ethan muttered. That's not an answer. She thought you were done with her. You shut her out, man. Letters stopped. No calls. Nothing. I was bleeding out on sand for you. And I carried that guilt for months, Ethan barked. You think I don't see you every time I close my eyes? You think I wanted to be the one walking out of that alley while you bled into the dust? Logan didn't blink. Then why show up here? Ethan looked tired now. His hands were shaking slightly. Because Mia's not gonna stop. She's dragging this into the open. And if it goes public, everything burns. You, me, the whole goddamn command. I'm already burned. Ethan moved closer, too close. We clean this up now. It dies quiet. You walk away. You keep your record, your pension, your name. No tribunal. No dishonorable. I talk to Vale. We get ahead of it. You think this is about me? Logan said. Ethan lowered his voice. I think you're a soldier who doesn't know what war he's fighting anymore. Then he reached into his jacket. Logan tensed, hand near his side, breath caught. But Ethan only pulled out an envelope. Yellowed. Thick, sealed with black tape. Dropped it on the table. Logan stared. What is it? Ethan stepped back. Proof. That I didn't sell out the team, that someone else did. Logan didn't touch it. Ethan headed for the door. Open that. You'll know why I did what I did. He paused with his hand on the knob. But once you do, there's no walking it back. He left without another word. The room shrank around Logan. He stood for a long moment, then moved to the table. The envelope sat in the center like a loaded trigger. He peeled back the black tape. Inside, a single printed document. Transfer of funds. Classified account, offshore, recipient N. Brooks. Logan froze. He pulled the paper closer. Bank signature. Federal timestamp, 5 weeks before Syria. Natalie's name, 70,000 wired from a military contractor account. Signed by Ethan Cole. His breath locked in his throat. He sank into the motel chair. The paper trembled in his hands. Then another knock, but not on the door. On the window, he turned. A silhouette stood outside the glass. Not Ethan, not Mia, Natalie. Staring in through the glass, eyes wide, mouth pressed in a tight line. Waiting. Natalie didn't blink. She stood outside the window, hands at her sides, not knocking again, just staring in. The yellow parking lot light cast a hard glow across her face, catching the tension in her jaw, the stillness in her eyes. Logan didn't move. The envelope lay on the motel table. His fingers were still on the transfer sheet. The number, the signature, the name burned into his vision. Recipient, N. Brooks 70,000, authorized by Ethan Cole. He looked up again. She hadn't left. He walked to the door, paused. His hand hovered over the handle. Click. The door swung open. Natalie stepped in without asking. She looked like she hadn't slept. Mascara faded under her eyes, sweatshirt sleeves pulled down to her fists, hair tangled like she'd rushed out the door in a panic. Her gaze fell to the paper in his hand. She exhaled, just once, sharp and low, like a balloon punctured midair. "Logan," she said, barely above a whisper. He shut the door behind her, slow, no words, just silence pressing in from every angle. She took a step forward, then stopped herself. "I can explain." He stared. "What part?" His voice came raw, sandpapered. Her eyes flashed, not anger, not even guilt, just fear. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked. Natalie swallowed hard. "Because I didn't know how to." "When?" He held up the paper. "How long before you decided a check with my name on it was better than waiting for the body?" "It wasn't like that." "Then tell me what it was." She opened her mouth. Nothing came. "Then, he said it was a settlement." Logan's eyebrows twitched. Natalie stepped closer, voice unraveling. "He said you put him down as your beneficiary for combat risk insurance, that it was part of your protocol in case something happened, that you didn't want me to suffer through military paperwork." Logan stared at her, dead still. "I didn't even cash it at first," she said. "I didn't touch it for weeks. I didn't want to believe you were gone." His eyes dropped to the document. "That's not a government payout," he said flatly. "That's private. That's corporate. You didn't wonder why Ethan was sending money in my name from an offshore account?" She hesitated, just for a second. And that was enough. He turned away from her, tossed the envelope onto the dresser. She stepped behind him. "I thought you were dead. I thought I had nothing. And then he said you didn't want to come back." He slowly turned back toward her. "And you believed him." She didn't deny it. The motel clock ticked behind them, each second loud. "I wore your dog tags every night," she said. "I kept your boots by the door. I prayed over a folded flag they never sent me." "Then why let him in?" Logan's voice cracked. Not loud, not angry, just broken. Her silence spoke louder than anything. He stepped around her, back to the table. Hit a key on the laptop. The screen lit up, the paused frame from the helmet cam flickering. Audio bar loaded. She watched it from behind him, expression unreadable. "You heard it?" she asked. "Every word." Natalie sat slowly on the edge of the motel bed, hands trembling. "I didn't know," she whispered. "I swear to God, Logan, I didn't know it was like that. You thought I'd given up. I thought you were trying to disappear." He turned, staring hard at her. "You think I'd vanish and leave you in the arms of the one man I trusted to cover my back?" Natalie's lips parted, but no sound came. Her hands clenched in her lap. "I gave my blood for him," Logan said. "And he took you, my name, my death, then sold it." She flinched. "Where's the rest of it?" he asked. "What? The money, the rest of the 70. "I transferred it out," she said. "2 accounts. I didn't spend a dime." "Where?" "Bank of the Coast, under my maiden name. I couldn't touch it, not once." Logan looked at her, eyes narrowing. "Give me access." "Why?" "Because if Ethan's paying people off under my name, we don't know who else is holding dirty money." Natalie stood. "You think I'm part of this? You were paid. I was lied to." He took a step forward, close enough to see the panic flickering behind her eyes. "Then help me." Her shoulders dropped, breath shaky. Okay, she whispered. Okay, I'll get you the login. 10 minutes later, Logan sat at the laptop, her phone beside it. Natalie stood behind him, arms folded, watching over his shoulder. He logged in. 2 transfers, one to her maiden name savings, one to a numbered holding account, both untouched. But it wasn't the balance that caught his eye. It was the origin. Sender, Kalis Security Logistics. He stared at the name. What is that? She asked. He didn't answer. Just typed the name into a classified intel lookup. Private military contractor, domestic and foreign intelligence support. Special contract holder, Eastern Blackout Initiative, U.S. and Middle East, 2022 to present. His stomach turned. Kalis had been flagged a year ago, rumored Black Ops contracts, evidence tampering, post-mission interference, and now Ethan was using it as a bank. A folder popped up, linked to the transfer tag. Logan clicked. Video file. He glanced at Natalie. Do you know about this? She shook her head. I've never seen that folder. He hit play. Another helmet cam feed. Date stamped. 2 days before Logan's Syria op. Audio fuzzed, then cleared. Inside a tent. Late night. Ethan's voice unmistakable. He's in the way. If he goes down, the door opens. The Saudis don't want him poking around. Another voice, deeper. That's your call. Just make sure the wound doesn't kill him too fast. Natalie covered her mouth. Logan paused the video. The frame froze on Ethan's face. Grainy, but clear. Smiling. Why? She asked, voice cracking. Logan's face hardened. Because I wasn't supposed to come home. He stood, grabbed his jacket, checked the mag in his sidearm. Still full. Natalie stepped back. What are you going to do? He looked her dead in the eye. Give them a war. He walked out the door without another word. The screen behind him still flickered. Ethan's frozen face, the last smile before the bullet. Logan walked through the cold spill of motel lot light, jaw locked, boots hitting pavement like a clock ticking louder with each step. He didn't run, didn't rage. He moved like someone who'd already decided. The wind picked up along Harbor Drive, tugging at his collar as he got in the car. He didn't start it right away. Just sat in the dark, hands on the wheel, eyes fixed on nothing. Then he reached for his phone. Mia. 2 rings. Yeah? I need the files, he said. All of them. A pause. You sure? Tonight? Another beat. I'll meet you in an hour. Same place? No, Logan said. Not this time. He waited outside a UPS store, tucked between a pawn shop and a laundromat, neon buzzing faintly overhead. At this hour, everything was closed except the liquor store across the street. A man smoked beside a vending machine, watching the empty world roll past. Mia's black sedan pulled in slow. She climbed out, a thick envelope tucked under one arm, a flash drive clipped to a keychain. No names, she said, handing them over. Logan took the envelope, slipping it into his jacket. She didn't leave. What's your plan? She asked. Logan looked past her, across the street. At the liquor store, a couple argued under a flickering sign. The world kept spinning. I'm done waiting for them to finish the job, he said. Mia nodded slowly. You go loud. They'll come for you. I'm not going loud. She studied him for a long moment, then backed away. You already started, didn't you? Logan didn't answer. He just turned and walked back to his car. The next morning, base security flagged a request. Anonymous submission. Subject line, evidence of misconduct, SEAL command. Attached, a flash drive. Encrypted. Inside, 3 video files, 1 audio transcript, 1 transaction log, no message, no sender ID, just silence. But silence with a fuse. Logan stood in a small strip mall cafe just outside Coronado, the kind nobody looked at twice. Cheap coffee, cheap cameras, no uniforms. He waited at the counter. The barista rang up his black coffee without recognition. Logan turned to scan the room. No one familiar. Then movement. A man stepped through the back entrance. Mid-30s. Civilian clothes, but the haircut said Navy. He carried a small laptop bag and wore aviators indoors. Logan nodded once. Just enough. The man sat across from him without shaking hands. You the one who sent it? The man asked. Logan sipped his coffee. The man set the laptop bag on the table. You're poking a hive. These guys, they don't bury things, they erase them. Logan reached into his pocket, slid over a sealed envelope, thin but heavy. Proof, he said. The man opened it, pulled out 3 still shots, frames from the helmet cam. One time-stamped 5 minutes before the hit in Kandahar, another from the post-op financials, and the last, Ethan's signature on a waiver rerouting mission personnel. The man stared at it. Is this verified? You'll find out when they start deleting files, Logan said. So move fast. The man looked up. You want credit for this? Logan paused, then shook his head once. Just make it loud. Later that night, Logan walked into the bar 2 blocks from the docks, the place their unit always called Last Stop. Low ceilings, too many flags, brass badges nailed into the bar. The jukebox played an old Johnny Cash track. He ordered 1 drink. Sat near the back corner booth, the one with the chipped table and burn mark that nobody claimed. He waited. 15 minutes in, he saw them. Ethan walked in with 2 others, one from ops, the other a comms guy. All off duty, all unaware. Logan didn't move, didn't flinch, just raised his glass slightly as Ethan passed by, barely more than a twitch. Ethan froze mid-stride. The 2 guys with him kept walking. He looked at Logan. Logan stared back. No smile, no nod, just locked in, quiet, heavy, final. Ethan moved toward him, slow, measured, stopped at the edge of the booth. You think this ends the way you want? He asked, low. Logan took another sip. You should go home, Ethan added. You've done enough. Logan tilted his head. You came into my house, he said. Ethan didn't reply, just stood there, jaw clenched, breathing tight. Logan set his glass down. You feel that? He said quietly. Ethan narrowed his eyes. That's the ground shifting, Logan whispered, and it's not under me. Ethan didn't move for a second. Then he turned, walked out. Logan watched him go, didn't blink, didn't follow. He waited until the door closed behind him. Then he exhaled once, just once, and the glass cracked in his hand from how tight he'd been holding it. The crack in the glass left a jagged line across the rim, catching the dim light like a blade. Logan set it down slow, careful not to draw blood. Around him, the bar carried on like nothing had just shifted. Pool balls cracked against wood. Someone laughed too loud near the jukebox. Glass clinked. Small talk buzzed. But in the back booth, everything felt still, like the silence after a breach, right before the second blast. Logan stood, walked past the bar without a word, shoulders square, eyes forward. The bartender didn't even glance up, didn't know he'd just watched a war start with no gunfire. Outside, the night was colder than before. The wind off the bay pulled at Logan's jacket, sharper now. He moved across the lot with purpose, sliding into his car and starting the engine in one smooth motion. The next stop was quiet. A storage unit facility on the edge of the Naval District, behind a long row of warehouses. No cameras, no guards, just a keypad and silence. He parked, walked to Unit 117, entered the code, and pulled up the roll door. Inside, weapons locker, filing crate, 2 hard cases, a laptop packed in foam. Everything from before, when backup plans were just paranoia, not protocol. He clicked the light on, walked to the far end, opened the filing crate. Inside were years of dust-covered after-action reports, archived comms logs, old mission files no longer accessible through base intranet. And in the center, a sealed envelope marked Vulcan, a code name used only once during a drone extraction op in eastern Syria. The op Ethan had never filed full footage for, the one that earned him a commendation after Martinez died. Logan opened the envelope and pulled out the original drone route, satellite overlay, heat signatures, mission timestamps. He spread it across the table, careful, methodical. Then he pulled out Ethan's official report, the redacted one he'd managed to get from Mia 2 weeks ago. He laid them side by side and began to match the lies. An hour later, Logan stood in a parking garage beneath the federal building. Mia leaned against a column, arms crossed, hair pulled back in a tight knot. He handed her a thumb drive. Satellite discrepancies, route alteration times, voice comms mismatch. Mia nodded, flipping the drive between her fingers. You sure about this? She asked. Logan looked her in the eye. No one buries Martinez again. She tucked the drive away. I'll route it through JAG's internal audit division, quietly. Make it look routine, already planned. They started back toward the exit. Halfway there, Mia spoke without looking at him. You're not doing this for vengeance. Logan didn't respond. She turned to him, stopping. You're doing it for what he took from you. He looked at her. Just looked, and walked on. Back at his motel, Logan found the envelope from earlier, the one with Natalie's bank transfer trail. He scanned the documents again, every number, every timestamp, then pulled out his phone and called the one person he hadn't spoken to in years, his sister. Then her voice. Logan? Hi, Rachel. Silence. I need to ask you something, he said, and I need the truth. A pause. Okay, did Natalie ever contact you while I was overseas? Did she ever ask for help? Talk about money? Another beat. Yes, Rachel said. She said you'd sent her something, a payout, said you didn't want to talk about it. She sounded off. I told her to wait until you came back. She didn't. I know. He closed his eyes. Did she say where it came from? Only that Ethan handled it, said he was helping process your benefits. His hand clenched tighter around the phone. Thanks, he said. That's all I needed. Logan, are you okay? The pause hung heavy. I will be. He hung up. The next day, Logan arrived at the command building with a file in hand and no warning. His uniform was clean, his posture precise, and his eyes gave nothing. The clerk at the front desk blinked when he saw him. Sergeant Brooks, thought you were on extended medical. I need to speak with Commander Vale. About? Logan held up the folder. Documentation oversight, mission filings. The clerk glanced at it, hesitated, then nodded. Wait here. Minutes later, Logan stepped into Vale's office. The commander sat behind his desk, crisp shirt, open collar, sleeves rolled, same as before. His eyes studied Logan's face before he looked down at the folder being placed on his desk. What is this? Field log from the Vulcan operation, satellite pathing, audio comms, and a discrepancy report. Vale's gaze sharpened. Discrepancy? Logan pointed to a printed line. Here, he said, this is the route the team was briefed on, and here's the live route Ethan Cole gave the drone team. Vale scanned both. His eyes slowed. Who else has seen this? He asked. No one yet. Vale closed the folder slowly. You know what this means? I do. Vale leaned back, assessing him. You sure you want this smoke, Brooks? Logan nodded once. Vale reached for his phone, pausing just before lifting the receiver. You're about to flip a table that's been bolted to the ground for years. Logan looked him straight in the eye. Good. That night, Natalie called again. Logan let it ring. She called a second time, then a third. He finally picked up on the fourth. I saw the news, she said. Logan said nothing. They're investigating Ethan. Still silence. You started this. Logan's voice came quiet. No, he did. You're going to ruin both of us, she said, barely holding back panic. Everything we had. We don't have anything. She didn't speak. He kept going. If you want to protect yourself, write your statement. Detail the transfer, the timing, the lie he fed you. And if I don't, he paused, just long enough to let it settle. Then when he burns, he said, you'll be standing next to him. He hung up. Back at the storage unit, Logan opened a steel case and pulled out a single item wrapped in cloth. He unwrapped it slowly. A challenge coin, matte black, seal insignia on one side, date and op name on the back. Martinez, before 2222. He placed it carefully on the crate lid, then picked up a camera, loaded it, set it facing the table, pressed record. He didn't speak, didn't sit, just stared into the lens, then held the coin in front of it, long enough for anyone watching to know exactly what this was about. Then he shut it off and mailed it. Anonymous drop. Destination, Department of Naval Review, Washington, D.C. He watched the mail slot close, metal hitting metal, soft, final, like the first bullet chambered before a war. The metal mail slot snapped shut behind him. Logan turned, stepped into the cold morning light, and didn't look back. Across the street, the base was already stirring, engines revving, boots moving in sync, the faint thud of early drills echoing through the wind. Just another day to anyone not watching close. But the ripples had already started. By noon, Commander Vale summoned Ethan to the debriefing room on the second floor of Naval Command. No reason given, just a message, report in uniform, now. Logan was already in the hallway, leaning against a pale green wall, arms folded, watching the glass door as Ethan approached in full service dress, metals sharp, posture tight, face unrateable. But his eyes flicked to Logan for half a second, and in that flicker, there it was, a tremor. Logan didn't blink, didn't nod, just held the stare. Ethan pushed through the door without a word. Inside, the room was cold. Steel chairs, laminated table, nothing on the walls. Two other officers sat across from Ethan, both in formal blues. Between them, a folder already open, not a thick one, but the kind that matters. Vale entered last, quiet and heavy. He closed the door, didn't sit. Commander, Ethan greeted, calm. Vale didn't respond, just slid the folder across the table. Ethan glanced down, scanned the first page, then flipped it, slower this time. Then again. His breathing changed, just slightly. This is a joke, he said, straightening. Where's this coming from? One of the officers spoke, Lieutenant Carr, JAG liaison. We received an anonymous tip, supporting documentation, audio files, 2 matching timestamps, signature logs. Ethan looked at him like he hadn't heard the words right. You're saying what? That I falsified reports? No, Carr said. We're saying someone has evidence that you orchestrated mission protocol to knowingly endanger a SEAL under your command and used a private contractor to handle the payout. Ethan's laugh was short and sharp. That's insane. Do you deny authorizing the financial transfer to Mrs. Brooks? I didn't authorize anything. Carr slid a printed bank record across the table. Ethan stared at it. Someone's trying to set me up. Maybe, Carr said. That's why we're here. We're not calling this an Article 32 yet, but we are initiating a formal inquiry. Vale spoke for the first time. Effective immediately, your access to classified operations is suspended. All field privileges revoked. Ethan stood. I earned that clearance. Then you'll have no issue cooperating fully, Vale said. Ethan's jaw flexed, his hands balled into fists at his sides. Carr stood as well. You'll need to surrender your phone and your badge. We'll assign a temporary liaison for communication during the investigation. This is bullshit. You're dismissed, Lieutenant. Ethan didn't move for a second. Then he turned, opened the door. Logan was still there, waiting. Their eyes locked as Ethan stepped into the hallway. He didn't speak, didn't slow, just brushed past, stiff, burning, and disappeared around the corner. That evening, Logan sat across from me in the back of a diner 2 miles off base, cheap vinyl booth. Coffee that had been burned twice, the quiet hum of a ceiling fan above them. She slid a tablet across the table. JAG confirmed. Internal hearing within 72 hours. Could go private or public, depending on how far it stretches. Logan nodded once. And Natalie? Mia hesitated. She hasn't filed yet, but she's asking questions. Logan sipped his coffee. She'll come around, he said, but she didn't. Not right away. Instead, she showed up at his motel that night. No warning, just a knock, soft, slow. Logan opened the door. Natalie stood there, pale, stripped down of all pretense. No makeup, no polished hair, just a plain black hoodie and jeans, eyes rimmed red. You said it was 70,000, she said. Logan stepped back. She came in, wordless, sat on the edge of the bed like it belonged to her, and maybe it had once. He waited. She reached into her bag, pulled out a checkbook. Everything that's left, plus interest. She tore the slip from the top, held it out. He didn't take it. I can't fix what I believed, she said, but I don't want to be a piece of his game anymore. Logan looked at her, expression unreadable. I'll sign whatever you need, she added. Testify. Name, account numbers, dates. She stood, turned to the door, paused. I thought he was protecting me, she said, but I think he just hated being second to you. Then she left. Didn't close the door fully. It swung halfway shut, then stopped. Back at base the next morning, something strange happened. Logan walked through the motor pool toward a maintenance locker, cutting across rows of vehicles. 3 junior enlisted men passed him. One nodded. Another gave a quiet sergeant. The last one didn't speak, but slowed as he passed. Respect. Wait. Awareness. The room knew now, even if no one was saying it. Logan opened the locker. Inside was a brown envelope. No name, no note, just one photo. Ethan, with a Sealess security rep. Handshake. Date stamped. 3 days before Martinez died. Logan slid the photo into his jacket, closed the locker, and walked out. His pace didn't change, but his eyes were sharper now. And for the first time in weeks, the sun felt like it had heat again. The tribunal room was quiet. Not courtroom quiet, not gavel and order, not civilian polished silence, but something colder, more military, sterile and final, like a warhead before detonation. Logan stepped in behind Commander Vale, flanked by 2 officers. He wasn't in uniform, didn't need to be. He wasn't here to defend. He was here to witness the fall. At the front, a table, 3 judges, black bars on their collars. 1 JAG prosecutor. 2 legal observers. And Ethan. Full dress uniform, medals sharp, collar straight, jaw locked. He looked straight ahead, refusing to glance sideways, but his eyes twitched once, toward the sound of Logan's boots hitting the tile behind him. Vale gave a subtle nod. Let's begin. The hearing moved fast. Initial charges read aloud: negligence in combat protocol, falsified reports, abuse of classified access, financial misconduct under SEAL Code 12. Ethan didn't flinch, not once. Lieutenant Cole, the lead judge said, you've been provided a summary of the allegations and have legal counsel. Do you wish to make a preliminary statement? Ethan stood, voice clear. These accusations are politically motivated and built on misinterpreted data. I served with honor. I have nothing to hide. Val raised his hand. We'll see. He reached into the folder in front of him and pulled out a tablet. Exhibit A, he said, tapping the screen. The room lights dimmed slightly as the feed cast onto the projector. Helmet cam footage, the sound of wind, distant gunfire, then the voices. Ethan's voice, clear. If Brooks was here, he'd already be dead. Silence. Ethan's lawyer shifted in his seat, quietly. The lead judge leaned forward. Lieutenant, care to explain that statement? Ethan tried to hold his ground. That was said under stress, taken out of context. Another tap on the tablet. New file. Drone route maps. Overlays. Time-stamped adjustments. Exhibit B, Vale said. Unauthorized change to the Vulcan exfil path. Result, 1 KIA, 2 wounded, 1 cleared SEAL reassigned without notice. A new voice broke in. The JAG prosecutor. We also have documentation that the reassignment was filed under a false pretext, medical unfit for op. Yet medical clearance logs show Sergeant Brooks passed all requirements 2 days prior. Ethan didn't respond. The room sat heavy. Further, the prosecutor continued. We've received testimony from Mrs. Natalie Brooks regarding a financial transfer made by Lieutenant Cole under false pretense, framed as a death benefit, issued while Sergeant Brooks was still alive. Murmurs from the back. Ethan finally broke. His voice came lower, tighter. She came to me. I didn't force anything. I did what I thought was best for her. Vale tilted his head slightly. Interesting phrasing. Logan didn't move, just watched, still, anchored, like gravity had shifted around him, not because he forced it, but because he no longer needed to. The judges conferred quietly. Then one spoke. Lieutenant Cole, as of this moment, you are placed under Article 15 proceedings pending full review. You are relieved of operational duties. Clearance revoked. You are to remain on base and surrender all active access credentials. Ethan's jaw moved, like he wanted to say something, fight something, but nothing came. He sat, hard. Logan stood slowly and walked forward. Only now did Ethan look at him. That smile he wore, that perfect, effortless war hero grin, cracked at the edges. Logan stopped beside him, looked down, didn't raise his voice, didn't blink. He reached into his coat, pulled out a folded piece of paper, placed it gently in front of Ethan, unfolded once. Bank record, Natalie's signature, statement of testimony, one line handwritten across the bottom. He told me Logan was never coming back. Ethan stared at it, and for the first time since Syria, since the sand and blood and fire, he looked small. No more stage, no more mirrors. Just a man caught with his hand still on the match, trying to claim the house burned itself down. Logan leaned close. 4 words. Quiet, precise, devastating. You earned this silence. Then he walked out. Didn't look back. Didn't need to. The sound of a chair scraping across tile, fast, sudden, hit behind him. A voice rose. You think this makes you right? Logan didn't turn. A guard stepped in. 2 officers flanked Ethan. Logan stepped through the door into open air. Bright sun, and for the first time in months, it didn't sting. He slid on his sunglasses, kept walking. Behind him, the door slammed shut. Final, like a casket closing with the truth still echoing inside. The next morning, Ethan's face hit the bulletin boards. Internal memo. Formal charges pending. Clearance revoked. Lieutenant Ethan Cole is no longer authorized to represent or engage in SEAL operations under any capacity. No headline, no fanfare, just his name, stripped, boxed, and filed for everyone on base to read. By noon, the looks started. In the gym, silence. No backslaps, no bro greetings, just space, like something about him had turned radioactive. In the mess hall, 2 men stood when he walked in and left their trays. One muttered something low. Ethan didn't respond. Just sat down, alone, in full uniform, eyes fixed on the wall. The shame wasn't loud. It was slow, deliberate, personal. The kind that seeps in through every locked door and sinks into your skin. Logan watched it unfold like a quiet burn. He didn't gloat, didn't chase the fallout. He just kept moving, through the halls, the ranges, the motor pool, like nothing had changed. Except everything had. Mia met him outside a chain-link gate behind the main building. Cloudy day, wind dry. She handed him a small manila envelope. Final transcripts, she said. Audio. Testimony. Every signature logged. They don't need you at the full trial. They've got enough. He took the envelope, nodded. Official verdict's coming next week, she added. But off the record, he's done. They stood in silence a moment. He'll try to spin it, Mia said. He's the type. Logan looked out over the base yard, drills running, men lined in formation. He can talk, he said. No one's listening now. 2 days later, Natalie moved out. No screaming match, no final plea, no staged tears, just a quiet knock on Logan's motel door and a box in her hands. Inside, the tags, the photo of them from 4 years ago, his grandfather's watch, the one she used to wear when she missed him. She held the box out. I didn't come to apologize again, she said. You don't owe me forgiveness. He took the box, didn't look inside. I'm staying with my sister, she added, transferring the rest of the funds to Jag. I signed the statement. He nodded. She hesitated. Then, you were always the better man. He didn't answer. She started to turn, stopped. I hope you find peace, Logan. He watched her go, didn't close the door for a long time. Ethan's barracks locker was emptied without ceremony. A junior officer boxed his gear under supervision. The contents were basic: clothes, gear, a comb. No awards, no plaques, not even a letter, just a folded flag with no certificate. The hallway was quiet, no send-off, no salute. When he walked out, duffel over his shoulder, his boots echoed like he was the last one left on a sinking ship. Logan stood across the lot, behind the shadows of the loading bay, watching. Ethan spotted him, stopped. They stared for a long moment, not as soldiers, not as men in the same fight. Just two people at the end of a road they'd both tried to burn first. Ethan looked away, kept walking, and for the first time, Logan didn't follow, didn't flinch. He just watched him leave. Not exiled, not dragged, just left, like all the truth had finally caught up and carved out what was left of the mask. That night, the bar was half empty. Logan sat alone in the back booth again, same spot, different wait. He didn't drink, just sat. A new team walked in, younger, loud, hungry. The kind he used to be. One of them glanced over at him, then whispered something to the others. Not mocking, not pity, just recognition. Mia walked in not long after, slid into the booth across from him. They're offering you full reinstatement, she said. Deployment clearance, commendation note. He looked at her. I told them you'd say no. He didn't argue. She pulled something from her jacket, laid it on the table. A single photo. Martinez, boots in the dirt, smiling crooked at the camera. Desert wind behind him, sun in his eyes. Logan stared at it for a long time. Then he nodded once and folded it carefully into his jacket pocket. Later, alone in his car, he turned off the engine and sat in the dark. The street was quiet, not dead, just still. A different kind of silence now. Not the one that used to haunt him. Not the one that filled Natalie's side of the bed. Not the one Ethan left behind. This one felt earned. It felt like breathing again. He looked out the window and let the quiet sit, not because there was nothing left, but because finally something new could begin. Logan stood at the edge of the Pacific, boots in the sand, jeans cuffed, sleeves rolled up just enough to catch the wind. The surf crawled in and out like it had for centuries, patient, quiet, indifferent. In his right hand he held a coin, matte black, smooth edges. Martinez, 042222. He looked out past the horizon where the sun bled into water. No more medals, no more lies, no more men trying to write his death before he'd even fallen. The tide rolled higher, washed over his feet, and retreated again. The water was cold but clean. From behind a small voice, Uncle Logan? He turned. A boy, 6, maybe 7, stood barefoot in the sand with a woman just behind him, Martinez's widow, Danny. Her hand rested on the boy's shoulder. Logan crouched. The kid looked down at the coin in Logan's palm. Is that my dad's? Logan nodded. Yeah. He closed the boy's fingers around it, gently. He'd want you to have it. The boy looked up. Was he brave? Logan didn't smile, but his voice was steady. He was everything I ever hoped to be. The kid held the coin close and stepped back toward his mom, who gave Logan a quiet nod. Nothing more. She didn't need to. They walked back up the beach as the sun dipped lower. Logan stayed, for a while, let the last of the day wash over his face, his hands, his scars. No ghosts now, no noise, just the wind in the shoregrass and the soft hush of waves folding into sand. He reached into his pocket, pulled out his tags and pressed them into the sand. Not buried, just placed. He stood again, looked out, and for the first time in a long time, walked forward. Not toward war, not toward revenge, just forward. Where are you watching from now? Which country and city? Let us know in the comments below. If this story moved you, like the video to let us know. Share it with someone who might need to hear it. And if you want more powerful stories like this one, real, human, unforgettable, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for riding this all the way to the end. We'll see you in the next one.